What is going on, people of the internet? Welcome back to another episode of the Waveform podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Marquez.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm David.
And this week, we have a special guest. I'm going to be interviewing her. Her name is Simone Giertz, and she's a fellow YouTube creator that I've watched and admired for a long time. I don't know. Have you guys seen Simone's videos online? I feel like she's one of those people who has gone viral in several different spheres of the internet at different times for different things. I don't know if you've watched them.
Yeah, she's been prevalent on YouTube for a very long time. She's sort of one of those creators that kind of disappears for a little bit, but it's because she's working on some insane project. And then once a year, all of a sudden she goes super viral because she did something crazy.
Those are some of my favorites sometimes where you're like, I wish they made another video, but when that one hits, you just drop everything you're
Which
doing.
is like, what's that robotics kid that made Spot pee in a cup?
Michael Reeves.
Michael Reeves.
I
It's
literally,
like him too.
I literally brought that up to
They're
her.
super similar types of people.
Yeah, big project
With-
YouTuber. Truckla, you've probably seen.
Yeah.
The
Model 3.
robots.
Yeah.
She turned the Model 3 into a pickup truck before the Cybertruck even existed.
Which
things
looks
like
amazing, by the way.
It's really cool.
She
Before
drives
the
it around.
Cybertruck existed? You
Yeah, I
mean
talked to her about
still?
it. Well, yeah.
You mean currently?
Before it even got unveiled. Actually, that was the first time I met her. Was she brought it to the Cybertruck event.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
So this is she's ahead of her time, obviously.
Yeah.
But we also talked about just her foresight on building a business that is more sustainable outside of YouTube. This reminded me a lot of my conversation with Doug DeMuro, which is you don't want to hinge everything on the power of your creativity and just putting it on YouTube and hoping the platform takes it away.
Oops.
You can be a Mark Rober, but you can also not be successful on YouTube. It's really easy. So she's built a really interesting business with products alongside the videos that she's making, which is really cool. We talked about that. So there's a lot to this conversation, and I think it's a really fun one.
My turn?
Yeah. Segue.
Hey. So a lot of people hit me up on Twitter and in the YouTube comments, and we're like, Ellis, I actually do really want to know that weird color thing you were talking about yesterday. And I'm here to tell you, I'm not going to do it. It's too boring. But if you do really want to learn about that stuff, there's another creator online. The channel is called Technology Connections.
Yes.
And he has a 6-part series on television, 3 of which are about color technology.
We'll put a link in the description, in the show notes, for those who want to check it out. But yeah, without any further ado, let's get to the conversation with Simone, and there is trivia.
Trivia, dude.
All right, Simone,
Hi.
thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Waveform podcast.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
I've been watching your videos for a long time, and so I have a lot of questions for you. I'm always fascinated by different types of creators and YouTube channels, and you have one that I want to pick your brain about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. So you have a very official laptop open
Don't be intimidated
with
by it.
a
I
list of questions, and I think it said Simone questions.pdf.
Yeah, it's not too crazy, but I'm fascinated by the big project creator, if that's a genre that I can sort of loop you into, like Mark Rober. The sort of, what else did I write down? There's a bunch of YouTubers. Michael Reeves, another great channel. With your channel, there's such a variety of projects that you choose to do, and I'm always curious about your process for deciding to make a video. Is it, I'm going to do this table for jigsaw puzzles anyway, why don't I just film it? Or is it, I have an idea for a video, this table I think would be really fun and people would resonate with it, let's make it a project? How do you start with a project?
It's a little bit of both. I think it's for me, the video has kind of become the excuse to go down these build rabbit holes.
Okay.
And it's very much I don't think I would have self-motivated to build a mechanical puzzle table. So it's a table where you can switch between 2 tabletops.
Yeah.
So you can work on a jigsaw puzzle, but then you can switch the tabletops and you can use it as a dinner table. Yeah, I don't think I would be self-motivated enough to go and do that because it took so much work, but it's really the video aspect of it is the excuse that I can use to be no, I can spend 2 months designing this table.
It's like the ultimate IKEA project. I could never put that. Also, there's the amount of engineering ingenuity you have to invent something basically. This table doesn't exist, so you need to go through the process of thinking about how it needs to be made and building these things and trial and error. That's a fun video Like all of that is entertaining to go through with you as you go through it.
Yeah, it's like IKEA off-road. Off-roading, and you're like, there's no manual for this. Yeah, I think there's always like so I'll have an idea of something I want to do, and then I do like a cursory Google search to be like, has anybody done this before? Partly to see how other people might have done it, but also to like, if it has been done, then I'm not as interested in it.
Okay.
And there's always the part where you're like, has nobody done this before? Because
there's a good reason.
I'm like somehow magically the only person who's thought of this, or because it's a really bad idea in a way that I haven't predicted.
Right.
And it's about a 50-50 split.
Interesting. I have two questions. So one of them, have you ever scrapped videos in the middle? Like, this is too much.
No.
You've gone to the end of every project you started on camera.
Honestly, the video I was working on last week, it was the first time where I've like genuinely thought about giving up.
Yeah.
I was making this robot arm out of stained glass, like old timey stained glass window, but it's a mechanical robot arm. So you're using this like really old build technique to build this hyper modern object, and it just kept on breaking. And that was the first time where it broke. I yelled really loudly, and then I was like, "Can I just give up? Is this it? I'm done.
Yeah.
Bye." And then 5 minutes later, I come back and I'm like, "Okay, but what if I do it like this?" Mm-hmm. So I think I'm just too stubborn. I don't know.
There are a good amount of videos that I've seen that turn out really well, even though the project did come to a halt, where they like realized, oh, this isn't how it's going to work out. I think Mark Rober had a video like this similarly, where they're like, well, let's pivot and make something different, or let's like change it up a little bit because this one won't work. I mean, a robot out of stained glass sounds impossible if you ask me, but I've never built a robot, so.
Yeah, no, you go through it and you're like, this was a really dumb idea from the start. Why did I do this? But now I'm glad that I did. And I have this object that I'm terrified of breaking.
For sure. So you come up with the ideas. How do you know if you're going to be able to do it at all? Like, I think of Truckla as the ultimate, no one's ever going to be able to do this project. Just like on its face. Like, I'm going to take a Tesla Model 3 and I'm going to cut the back off and turn it into a truck. Shouldn't work. Probably just shouldn't work. But if you put enough thought and effort into all the things that you did, it will.
But the thing is, it's like, so 2 points about that. One, I'm like, I should start tracking my mood throughout every build, because I think I go through a lot of the same emotional swings through every build. Like every build has a part where I'm like, I'm not going to be able to pull this together. This is never going to work out. And it also has the parts of like, I'm the queen of the world. But then the second part is one of the benefits of having a YouTube channel, and that kind of shields me from failure, is that every build has two outcomes, or like two products that come out of it. One is the build itself, and then it's the video. Yeah. So with Truckla, like that is an incredibly risky project, but I could take it on because even if the build was a failure, I knew I would get a video out of it. Yeah. So I think it's, every project runs the risk of not working out, but at least I'll be able to salvage it into something.
Interesting. And so you still drive every day? That's your daily driver vehicle?
It was for like 2-3 years, but then now I've gotten a Volvo C40.
Oh, I like
Don't
that thing
tell
too.
anyone.
The Recharge, the electric one?
Yeah.
I like that too.
I like it. It was just like, Truckla is absolutely amazing, but we were going to do more work on her. So she was going to like go under car surgery for a while. And also it's like I get doxxed every time I drive it.
You're the only one on the road.
Yeah.
What is that like driving it? Did you get pulled over? Are there people who are just like pointing? I imagine a lot of pointing and cameras and things like that.
I mean, and that's fine. I think people following me was the stuff that was really scary. Yeah. People taking photos outside of my house with it, or like I remember somebody following me up a cul-de-sac when I was like going to visit a friend, and and it's like two guys in a car. And I was just like, hey, I understand you probably have really good intentions, but this is really scary for me to like be followed by two people I don't know up a dead end street. Yeah. So like, I don't want to talk about my car right now.
Yeah.
And the thing is, most people don't give a fuck about who I am. Like, they're just interested in the car or think like it's a secret Tesla prototype that they just spotted.
That there is that whole culture too around Tesla where like there are whole like spy channels. Have you seen these? Where
No.
So Tesla's got this like Fremont test track and all these factories and stuff like that. People will literally go take a drone, take off from a nearby parking lot across the street and go fly over Tesla's stuff and just like fly the drone up to people and up to things and take videos of it and post that online.
Yeah.
And people will find neat things in those. Oh, they're testing the Cybertruck over here today. And that's an article. And that's the whole thing. So if people see the new Tesla Model 3 Highland project driving around on the street, people will actually follow it around to get videos of it to put it on YouTube. So that also surrounded Truckla, I'm sure, with just like people not knowing what it is and wanting to be curious about it.
No, for sure.
Yeah, that's wild. But how do you like the Volvo? I feel like the XC40 was one of my favorite EVs when I first tested it.
So I have a C40, which is, just slightly different. But I'm surprised by how much I love it. Like, I thought I wasn't going to be, because I was looking at buying another car and I wasn't excited about any of the EVs. And I wanted another electric pickup truck, but like the Ford F-150 and the Rivian are just giant. Like, they're physically so big and they're also so expensive. And I'm like, I don't want to spend that amount of money unless it's something that I absolutely love. So I was feeling really lukewarm about all the cars because also like, I realized that I like really obscure vehicles. Like the two cars I have are incredibly weird because I also have like an obscure like 80s commuter car. So it's like a yellow little triangle. So I think like I'm just like, this is how I express my personality. And then having just like an undercover car a little bit more, I don't know, it pained me to some extent, but I really love it. And I think it's also like, Volvo is Swedish, or now it's owned by a Chinese company, but it was founded in Sweden, and I'm from Sweden, and I'm having that like immigrant or like emigrant type of thing where I'm like suddenly just wanting to surround myself with Swedish things, which never happened when I lived there. But now when I've lived abroad for like 10 years, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe a Volvo.
There's an IKEA like 10 minutes from here.
Yeah.
Just hear the theme music and the Swedish meatballs play. No, there's that makes a lot of sense. I started this car channel earlier in the year, and I wouldn't have always considered myself a car person. But then with all these EVs coming out, I slowly became an interested in the tech in cars type of person. So I wonder, to do the Truckla project, you had to at least be interested a little bit in obscure cars and doing projects with cars. But yeah, that was a pretty next level.
But I think it's also, I mean, with Truckla, because we had a whole team come on, like it was definitely, I was not a lone actor in that. So I had a lot of backup and expertise and people who could help me with it. But yeah, I kind of jumped into the deep end of like gearhead stuff.
Yeah,
where,
that
like,
was the deep end.
Yeah, because I like just gotten my driver's license like a year earlier or something. Because so I definitely didn't have like a strong car interest, and now I think they're amazing. Like I'm not. Yeah, but I've never had a gas vehicle, and I don't think. Yeah, there's still limited options.
Yeah, there will be. There's a whole generation growing up that will never own a gas car, which is pretty sick.
Yeah, put me in a gas station. I'm like, the.
So it's funny, in New Jersey, you specifically are not allowed to fill up your own gas. So there's this meme of like Jersey drivers going to other states and just like sitting in their car waiting for something to happen, because what do you do? But that's EV drivers too. Just, what do I do? I rented a gas car. What do I do?
Granted, the charging stations are barely better.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, they're all weird and they have like their apps and some never work. And there's definitely, I mean, the Tesla supercharger network is unparalleled and from like a user perspective, but all the other ones, it's
Also, last time I talked to you about Truckla, you couldn't supercharge, right?
I could. They never
they never took it away.
No, they never took it away.
Oh, that's amazing. Because Tesla would not. I'm sure if they found out too much, they would not like to have that supercharging. But
the thing is, I think the project got protected by that it was a little bit too big for them to come after, because they knew that I would have thrown a hissy fit online. And I think they just like kind of wanted to silence it as much as possible by like ignoring it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They sort of let it slide.
Yeah, so I think they let it slide. But I like scheduled a service appointment because I wasn't getting software updates or there was some like minor issue, and they called me from the appointment center and they were like, we know who you are and we know what you've done to your car. And I got so spooked that I ended up just solving it myself. Yeah.
That's so cool. That's funny. All right. Do you ever miss old YouTube? Like, I'm doing air quotes, old YouTube, old school YouTube?
I don't know if I've been on the platform long enough to be able to say that. I mean, I started my channel 2015.
So I think 2015 YouTube was very different from 2023 YouTube. Where, like, I'll give you a couple examples. One is like, there is some level now of like algorithmic, like I want to just optimize for the algorithm. You've seen these channels that just want to maximize views, and that's the whole point of the YouTube channel. Where I would say, I'd argue in 2015, especially our channel, it was like we had an idea for a video, we'd make it, and then as it was being uploaded, we were like, all right, we need a title and thumbnail too, right? Don't we? Oh, okay, let's think of this at the last second for packaging and then just push it out. I feel like that was a different time on YouTube. And I wonder if you, especially when you were starting, you kind of had this interesting vibe where you were making these projects, but you also had such a gap between them that each drop was like a big deal. And especially with Reddit, like Reddit would love every new project, and then there would be this sort of community around that, and it was just a different time, you know?
I think my relationship to thumbnails is inverted from yours because I used to care a lot more about it, and now I'm in my golden era on YouTube where I feel like I'm retired and I'm like, I'm just doing things for myself.
So you don't have over obsession on thumbnails anymore?
No. I mean, of course I'll like change it out midway if it's performing 10 out of 10. So like YouTube gives you this metric. I'm not explaining this to you, but to the viewer. YouTube gives you this pretty useful metric where it ranks your video's performance compared to the latest 10 videos that you've had. And whenever it's ranking like 9 or 10 out of 10, then you're like, oh, damn it. And then I might update the thumbnail. Yeah. But I think I was definitely like clout chasing a lot more before, and I was a lot better. So like my YouTube channel kind of started as an afterthought. Like I was mostly making GIFs. Like that was the core of the project. And every project I did was kind of built around being translated really effectively into a GIF.
Yeah.
So I was making all these like shitty robots. And it was all like, okay, how can this work in like a 7-second loop max without audio and people still understanding what it is? And then people started requesting like more video around it. So I was like, okay, I'll start making like a bigger video around it.
Right. Because wasn't your first one like a few seconds long? It was basically just the GIF in the video form.
Oh, GIF?
Sorry.
Really?
GIF. You're a GIF.
I'm a GIF.
Am I the only
graphic? GIF.
Yeah. GIF. Okay. GIF.
Really?
So you're
I can't believe you said GIF, but you're not willing to die on the hill, because I feel like the only people who say GIF are like ride or die
hardcore
GIF
people
will tattoo it on their chest.
There's the peanut butter, which is JIF, which is GIF, right? So I guess I have to. All right, I argued against my own. All right, it's GIF. So, but your first video was like super short. It was just the project, and then people asked for more like, how did you make it type things, background, and then you sort of like built video around it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's also so like my content has changed because what I used to do is I had the GIF of a project, and then I would make a video of when I was filming the GIF and like playing with the machine. So I wouldn't document the build process at all because it's really intense from like a production standpoint, and I just wasn't ready to let people in on that clusterfuck of a process. And now when my videos or the projects that I do are less GIF friendly, like the build video has become a lot more important, because there's no like, for example, with the puzzle table, there's not going to be a 15-minute video of me just showing how it works.
Yeah.
So like I kind of needed to add the build element into it to make it a worthy piece of content.
Yeah. That's interesting. I also think like building around one shareable, even though it might not be a GIF, building a video around one shareable visual inside of the video has always been a great idea. Like that's, I kind of try to do that to this day. We had this, what we bought an old original iPhone and sort of did an unboxing with it.
Yeah.
And I knew the whole time, like every other video anyone's ever tried to do of this, the retention spikes at the moment that they break the seal. So how do we sort of build out from that? Like we know we're going to have the moment of breaking the seal, but can we introduce tension and sort of a storyline and all that? I think it's smart to have a point in the video that you build up to as like the climax of the video visually, and that helps, create structure for the video.
I think, I call the like social content like flagship videos, because they're kind of like the ones that you send out.
Yeah.
And what I've started doing now is instead of a GIF, it's like a little voiceover clip of me being like, hi, my name is Simone, and I built this chair because I have a needy dog that likes to sit next to me, and
Yeah.
And that's been doing pretty well. Like, it's not as efficient as a GIF, because I would always like Reddit does really well. Like, it's very reaction GIF, memeable, shareable in that way. But it's also a compromise with like trying to fit in a content strategy that works with the type of builds that I want to make.
On that note, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with Simone. Support for today's episode comes from Shopify. Selling things can be complicated, and I say that from personal experience since I just went a little outside my comfort zone and actually created my own sneaker. And I'm used to making videos in a few days, maybe a couple weeks, but as much as I loved creating the sneaker, it took us like 2 years of back and forth, which I wasn't used to. Lucky for me though, selling merch is a very important part-time gig, but if your whole job is to sell stuff, then you need a commerce platform that you can trust. So Shopify is packed with industry-leading tools that give you complete control over your business and your brand without having to learn any new skills or design or code. So it covers every sales channel from an in-person point-of-sale system to an all-in-one e-commerce platform. It even lets you sell across social media marketplaces. And if you get stuck, there's a 24/7 help and extensive business course library. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/waveform, all lowercase. So go to shopify.com/waveform to take your business to the next level today. Shopify.com/waveform. Is there a project you're working on now, or like a super ambitious future project that do you have like a goal, like a Mount Everest of projects that one day you're going to be able to do? Because you mentioned you're feeling like almost like retired, like you're in the golden years of YouTube.
Happily
There's no
so.
way someone who likes to build as much as you do doesn't have like a goal somewhere.
Okay, but the thing is, so what I realized is that YouTube is not an end goal for me.
Right.
Like, it's not, my goal has never been to have the biggest possible YouTube channel or to try to have that career for the longest time. So what I started thinking about is like, okay, but if this is not the goal, then how can I use this as a tool to accomplish other things I want to do?
Yeah.
And I still want to build things, but what I'm exploring now is building and developing products for a product business and like kind of leveraging my YouTube channel in a way to do that. So I kind of turned my YouTube channel into more of an R&D department where I have an excuse to constantly build things and churn out projects and try to solve problems. It also becomes early audience testing. And if there's something that I build on my YouTube channel that I think might be interesting as a product, I can pass it over to the product team. And then when it's ready to be sold and marketed, I can pass it back over to my YouTube channel.
Okay.
So that's kind of been like the behemoth of the like long-term project that I've been working on, and something that I've invested really heavily in time-wise and monetarily in the last year, which is like why my YouTube channel has gone down a lot. And I'm also working on a TV show about everyday objects, or I'm working on a pilot episode. I haven't sold it yet.
Fun.
Yeah, so it's more, it's less been like, oh, I'm working on this big YouTube video, but more like I'm working on these more long-term goals, because I don't know if you've experienced this, but like our industry is so young that there's no roadmap for what to do for the next 30 years.
This is my favorite topic. Yes.
Yeah.
Everything that we're doing is pioneering what some future generation of creators is going to follow. Fully agreed.
But there's no blueprint on how to like...
Yeah. You can't Google like, what do you do after you make a YouTube channel that does this?
Yeah.
And then start a product company that does this. Like, it's just up to you.
There's nothing. Yeah. And it's a little bit, because I remember being like, yeah, I don't want to do this for the next 40 years. And then what do you do? And there's a lot of examples of people quitting, most of them being just people like getting canceled or quitting because they're like, I can't take it anymore. Or like, but I feel like there hasn't been a very positive way of quitting YouTube unless you can pull off like Eliza Koshy, which...
Yeah, a lot of people see this like graduation from YouTube, where like obviously you can create your own thing, make whatever you want, and then use it to like vault. Yeah, Liza Koshy is a great example. Emma Chamberlain's a good example of people who have like graduated from YouTube. But then you also see the sort of the opposite graduation. Weirdly, like there are mainstream celebrities who will like Will Smith their way into a YouTube channel and like start. So it's there's no blueprint. You kind of can just do what you think works with your creative vision.
What do you think you'll do in 30 years?
30 years. That's a long time. If you asked me in 3 years, I'd still be wrong because I'm constantly wrong about what we're going to do next. I think I'm lucky enough that the focus of our stuff is products. And I have always been interested in the products, in the tech, in the products, in the cars, whatever they are. And so I suspect that in 30 years, I will still be interested in the products and will still be making this thing that's helpful to people who are interested in products. Whether it's a video or some other form of media, I don't know. But that's generally how I think about it. In 5 or 6 years, I think we'll still be making videos because people are still going to want to buy products.
Yeah.
Generally. But I think it's interesting with your product design business, which is Yetch, just so we have the pronunciation verbally.
Yetch.store.
Yetch.store. You have like a big variety of different things. Like we have the calendar and then we have the screwdriver ring. Like how do you think about what sort of things you actually make for the store?
You know, so we launched the store a year ago. We just had our first birthday.
Congrats.
And we celebrated by giving people 1% off.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a D-brand thing
Which
to do.
is I love that it actually drove a spike in sales and people were actually using the 1% off discount code, which is funny because you can just get 10% off by giving us your email. Which also we have very good newsletters and we don't send them very often.
Nice.
So it's worth it. But yeah, I mean, we started a year ago and we started with a really small roster of products. The everyday calendar is, I think, the only one that I feel like really holds the ethos of what I want the brand to be. It's the only like real proper product. And the other ones I'm kind of thinking more of as like really ambitious basket fillers. So they're things that you add on, but you're not necessarily going to come there to the store for it. But I wanted to like not sit on the brand for too long because there's so many things I need to learn. A lot of it around marketing and just like what the work requires and the team and just like recruiting, what roles do we need to fill. So I kind of wanted to like, even though I felt like we only launched it with like 4 or 5 products, I'm like, I still want to get it out there and just try it out. But then we have some products coming out probably next year that I think are a lot more like under what I want the brand to be. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of been the initial product has just been like, what can we feasibly do with this small team that we have? I mean, we have 2 full-time employees on the product business. So it's like, okay, we can do this. We can do these rings. We have like a screwdriver ring and a screw ring. Unfortunate name. And like just some like fun, weird products. And then how can we use that to fund developing these other products that are a bit more ambitious and that I think actually solve problems.
So the calendar is like is your sort of ethos product. Can you describe it? It's like I just got mine. So it's this
where is it? Where is it?
So it's not in here, but I want to find a place to hang it because it plugs into the wall too. And it lights up and it's this 365 button hexagon calendar, but how would you describe the calendar?
This is we launched this product I think in 2018 on Kickstarter, and I still don't know how to explain it in audio only.
Pitch?
If you can help me brainstorm one.
Yeah.
But it's a calendar. So like imagine that you want to start a habit and you make a grid in your notebook so you can check little boxes for the days that you do it. You're like, I want to start meditating every day. I want to keep myself accountable. I'm just going to cross these little boxes to be like, yay, I did it.
Yep.
It's like a prettier version of that you can hang on your wall. So it's an electronic calendar that has 365 days. If you tap a day, you light it up. And you can use it. People use it to track their periods. They use it to track if they take medicine, how often they upload content.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I've seen some people. I have a friend who's in a long distance relationship, and I'm like, they use it to count down the days until they get to see each other. I was just talking to one of your teammates who was like, I'd want to use it to quit smoking. But yeah, so people are kind of using it in every possible way.
And it becomes this very visual thing.
Yeah.
I've talked about this on the podcast before. I am the psycho that lives my life in a to-do list app and a calendar app and all these other planning things where I can habit track, blah, blah, blah. And I have like a drink water tracker, and it's a checkbox on my phone. And when I drink a water bottle, I check the box, and it doesn't go away until I've checked it 3 times during the day.
Wow.
And I don't really get much of a visual reward for that other than just checking the box, which I don't know, I like checking boxes, but it's not nearly as much as like lighting it up and then it's there as a physical representation of what you did. So I feel like that elevator pitch, I think the way you started it was perfect. Imagine you want to start a habit. Who doesn't want to start some habit? Like that's definitely the pitch for it. And then you go into it.
No, it's been interesting in like the marketing side of it, just like, because I'm good at making content. I'm very bad at making ads. I feel like, and it's so much like you're selling the habit and the dream of what your life will look like when you have this habit. And then this product just happens to be the tool that can get you there.
Yeah.
And that's all like, it's just a different way of thinking. And it's very, like, if you look at our social media channels for the Etch Store, we only really have an Instagram feed. It's like, I think like we're really good at making content. We're making funny, weird content. Not necessarily good at selling stuff.
I think that still works though, as like it serves the same purpose,
Yeah.
as like getting the eyeballs for people who'd be interested in something like that. But how did you build your team? Like you said, you have 2 people full time
on the product
business.
Yeah.
And then you have, I imagine, some sort of help with making the videos. Maybe you don't. Sometimes I assume that, and people are doing it 100% themselves. How did you build that?
So I actually very deliberately have wanted to keep my team small because I want to, when you start your career on YouTube, like there's so many ways of defining success. And a lot of it is just like numbers and scale or how much your growth is. And I really early on told myself that like, I don't want those things to matter as much. Like the 2 key metrics of success is how much autonomy do I have in how I spend my time. Like that's something that's incredibly important to me. And that's luxury to me is like being able to wake up in the morning and being like, I don't want to do work, or like, I want to go to New York for 2 weeks, or I want to do this. And a part of that is not hiring a huge team that requires me to be there for them to have work to do. So I've intentionally kept the team really small. I actually just hired a shooter editor for the first time.
Okay.
And then he quit. So now on the video side, it's like my executive assistant, who also does some stuff on the product business, is like helping me film things. Okay. She sometimes does like a rough cut of it. Yeah. Or like she'll do like an assembly and like take out all the bad takes. Yeah. And then I'll do the editing, which is not a good use of my time. So if you're a shooter editor or just an editor in LA, please send me an email at apply@SimoneGiertz.com, spelled Giertz.
That was my next question, is how do you find these people?
Yeah.
Because I assume someone who's both an executive assistant and an editor and shooter is a very rare person. It's like, how do you have a go-to? Every creator I've asked has a different answer. Do you have a go-to for finding somebody, or does it just like...
I've tweeted a lot of job ads. Yeah. And I think that I found her through tweeting. And then like people I've kind of worked on a project with and I pulled in. One was a fan who like, he's my engineer who lives in the UK, and he was just like very active in the community and kind of just, I don't know, I just started pulling him in on projects because he had a really good brain. And then I was like, do you want a job? And he was like, yeah.
Nice.
So it's kind of all across the board, but I feel like especially with the product business, it's like I need to find a better way of recruiting and how to do it and not just Twitter.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I don't have a good answer yet. That's why I ask everybody.
And it's also, I'm like, I need to be better about like also proactively, like I'm feeling a tremendous amount of responsibility of making sure that I have a diverse team. And that's like a whole other level of complication when you're running a small business.
Yeah.
And you're like, I need to be better in this because you imagine, I don't know if you had this, but you kind of imagine like if I got to run a business or if I somehow got unimaginably rich, which I'm not, like that I would do it more responsibly than other people that I see who are in those positions. And I'm like, I need to walk that talk and actually try to be as decent of a human as I can be. So, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like also building, like when you're building a YouTube channel, there's so many different, whether it's the channel or the business or whatever, there's so many parameters to optimize for. So it's interesting to have like goals that are not specifically quantifiable, I guess. Like it would be harder to define success if you don't have some number that you can say, okay, it's over or under this number. So now I have autonomy of my time or I don't. Like it's a little more squishy.
Nebulous,
maybe it's a moving target too.
Yeah.
Maybe you feel more satisfied or less depending on how much of that time you get back in different times of the year, things like that. It's a little more nebulous.
What's your definition of success?
I've stuck it to I want to make things that I would want to watch. And that is not as quantifiable as some of the other goals that sort of surround that, which is like, oh, are we making, a variety of things? Are we making enough things? I'm trying to make a channel that I would want to subscribe to by making videos that I would want to watch. So it like kind of feeds into itself like that. But even just doing that, like you make videos that you'd want to watch and then you notice, oh, now my audience is like 96% male or something just because like I make videos that I'd want to watch. Now, how do I like expand to more people and a more variety of like countries and things like that? I don't know if that's even a useful thing to do, but we try.
Yeah.
So they all kind of feed back to making something quality that I'd want to watch.
I think for me, it's like pride in the projects that I put out, like in the content I put out is really important. And like, did the people who actually watched it, like ignoring thumbnails and what your click-through rate is and everything, but did the people who watch it like it? I think is something I care a lot about as well. But I mean, my audience is 80% male and I don't know what to do about it.
I feel like it's almost not really up to us, but also just depends on who watches YouTube. And a lot of like project videos, like it depends on the genre that you're in too. Like I'm making reviews of tech products and gadgets. Like I can't control who's into that, but I try to make it as accessible as possible and whoever watches. I was going to say you kind of remind me of Doug DeMuro the Doug DeMuro.
Who?
You haven't seen Doug DeMuro?
Who?
Oh my God. Okay, well let me give the elevator pitch for Doug. Doug is a car reviewer, and he started off just making like simple car videos. He'd review a car, a Honda. He'd review a random car you might want to buy, and he'd use his phone and set it up on a tripod and do the whole thing himself and edit the video. And he started like getting a lot more views, and so he got to do videos with more and more interesting cars until he was reviewing like supercars in the same style. Like he'd show up in a Polo and a smartphone on a tripod to review a Bugatti. Like that's what happened.
Yeah.
And he has the same like anchor point, which is we can't hinge this all on YouTube. It's just a platform that we all happen to be making videos on, but we want to turn it into something that we kind of own more or get to do ourselves. And he started Cars and Bids, which is a car auction website.
Oh, wow.
And it turned out to be super huge. His audience loved it. People use it. It's now competing among the biggest car auction websites. And like, that's the thing that he built.
So you're telling me that when I sell Truckla, I should sell it on that one?
If you do sell Truckla, carsandbids.com, I'm sure Doug would be the first one. And the thing is, he would review Truckla because he would have a hand in there, which would be amazing. I would watch that video. But having some sort of a pivot from making just like your focus being videos and the content and the projects like that, and like hinging it into something else
Yeah.
is the similarity that I see.
Because it's also such a brittle business because it hinges completely on two factors. One is the platform you're on and the other one is your face. So if something changes with the platform or with like regulatory things on how you're allowed to advertise or sponsorships
no
or whatever,
control
which you
over.
have no control over, like everything falls. Or if something happens to you, like if you're not well enough to be on a stage or in front of a camera, everything falls. So for me, it's also like the product business is really important because I don't want it to all be on my face needing to be there. I want there to be work that can happen even if I'm not actively there and that other people can do and that's scalable in a different way. Because I mean, I had a health scare and that was kind of the big push that made me like, no, okay, I need to like diversify what my businesses are because also I can't have a team and like have to lay people off if I'm suddenly depressed, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely a pressure that comes from trying to find the thing to hinge to if you don't have like an idea right off the bat. Like we're trying to do some products. Like I'm not as
Shoes.
yeah, we got shoes now. Like we're trying to figure out things that can live without me. That's like the general theme. Is there a way to decide what those products are? There's no blueprint, like we've said. So it's like I find products that I'm interested in and genres that I'm into and try to build there. But I mean, Doug was into cars, so that made perfect sense. And you're into these like projects like the screwdriver ring. I've never seen anything like it, but it just looks cool. And I feel like it's, I kind of want one of those. It's like pretty sweet. So like I need like a method of like deciding what sort of projects for a given creator would make the most sense to pivot to, because that doesn't really exist.
It is, yeah. It's an interesting like business exercise of like how do you diversify, how do you expand from this, and how do you like kind of build out your universe.
Yeah,
I could imagine. I mean, I feel like product development is such a like you got to be all the way in to do it because it's painful.
yeah,
Like there's nothing to do like half-assed. But also you're well set up enough where you could, even if you're not like 100% in it and wanting to pull all-nighters for it, like you could still do it.
yeah.
But
It just takes a while. Like with the shoes, it took like it was a 2-year process just for one pair of shoes, and it was like many design meetings.
Yeah, and you're
material
working
meetings.
with an existing shoe company that has the entire infrastructure for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So even that is like kind of a head start.
Yeah.
Like trying to build something from scratch is an undertaking for sure. So maybe that's a whole business of like helping YouTubers find the thing that will help them graduate from YouTube.
I mean, you have a 7/7 or a Titans fund as well, right?
We do.
So I feel like that is like if you don't want to develop products yourself, then it's like helping other people vet and develop products.
Yeah, but even that is kind of hinged on YouTube, which is like the value of that comes from me being able to connect my audience to a product for a company.
Yeah.
And have the eyeballs and like connect everything.
Yeah, but then it's like you're using your YouTube channel as a tool to do other things. Like the making of the video isn't the core of it. So it's like, how can you leverage that into?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like something. I'm thinking a equivalent of like Marquez Shark Tank, or like does it have to be other people's products or like your own products?
Not necessarily. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be my own products. It could be, I'm sure there's going to be some that go down the path of connecting with other companies and helping other products grow. And then there are going to be some that are like, here is this new thing that I made.
Yeah.
Which is like, it requires a different type of brain and you can come up with new ideas and products, things like that.
Yeah. I feel like some people like start schools as well, like teaching people doing what they do or like different programs and that. And it's a lot of different paths to go down.
Zach, Jerry Rig Everything. He has the Not a Wheelchair Project.
Oh, right.
So that's like again, it's very connected to him. It makes perfect sense. So like there's I don't know. There's no way for me to go, oh, here's what would make sense for this creator. But every time I see one that makes sense, I'm like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Some people start events
Yeah.
and have like big events.
Yep.
I mean, like VidCon being one of them
We've seen
from the Green
VidCon.
Brothers. Yeah.
We've seen Creator Clash.
Okay.
You're gonna box anybody? No, that's probably something I'm not doing either.
You could not pay me enough. Also, I'm not allowed to anymore because I've had brain surgery.
That's fair.
But I'm very happy to have that as an excuse because there's no fucking way I do it anyway. Granted, I used to be so into martial arts. Like I Thai boxed for years.
So you might have boxed somebody before. Maybe.
I've boxed a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
See?
and I was an MMA reporter. Like I was
What?
deep
People don't
in
know
that.
this?
Yeah.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I
know
think
this.
it's on my Wikipedia page.
Oh, that's
yeah.
fair.
No, I was deep into like martial arts world. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying I'm not going to do it, but I can then brazenly say that I think I'd do pretty well.
You could commentate for sure. I got to a yellow belt in Taekwondo. I was pretty proud of that. It's not very far.
Taekwondo is not going to get you very far though against like a grappler.
You heard it
Given
here
creator
first.
classes only stand up fighting. But,
Yeah, that's fair. No, maybe I'd overcome with my reach or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot I could do.
You do have very long limbs.
Yeah, I could use that for something. Something. All right, we're going to take one more quick break, and after that, we'll be back with more with Simone. I also have one more question for you. I don't know if you've seen the podcast. We ask everybody the same question.
Yeah, go for it.
How fast can you type the alphabet?
I don't know.
Well, let's find out.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's find
We'll do
out.
it.
We have a system.
Uh-huh.
It's as competitive or non-competitive as you want it to be, but we have everybody type the alphabet A through Z. There may or may not be a scoreboard / leaderboard, but I am super curious because people who spend a lot of time typing, writing, generally do pretty well.
Yeah?
I feel like you do pretty well.
Okay.
All that happens is as soon as you hit A, the timer starts, and as soon as you hit Z, the timer stops. So you don't even have to hit enter or
Okay.
anything like that. And you would give everybody 3 tries.
Simone, we also have the beautiful Apple Magic Keyboard and a mechanical keyboard if you would prefer.
Options.
I'm happy with
Options.
this.
Straight
Yeah,
butterfly.
yeah.
Let's go.
All
Yeah,
you.
okay. No. Wait. Oh.
So if you mess up, it stays on that letter until you hit it.
Yeah. No, I missed W.
So it stopped at W.
Yeah, it stopped at
That's
W.
why everyone gets 3 tries.
Yeah, everyone gets
Yeah.
several tries just
Okay.
to make sure. Yeah.
Okay. Second try. Z. 8.42. No, 452.
Pretty good.
Okay, last
8.4
one.
seconds. That feels like okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
$7.009.
7 seconds flat.
Mm-hmm.
Well done. Okay. Do you want to know where you stand on the leaderboard?
Yeah.
Up to you. Okay. So 7 seconds flat puts you right in between Colin and Samir and Hank Green.
Oh, wow.
Pretty
Good
fire.
crowd.
Pretty good. 2,
Those
4,
are some
6,
wholesome
8,
boys.
Wait, who did
Yeah.
she beat? Which one of them did she beat?
10. You beat Hank Green, 7.2. You beat Hassan Minaj. You beat David Blaine. You're right behind Mark Rober and Austin Evans, who are in the 6s.
Wow.
Solid.
Wow.
Doesn't that feel like crazy fast to type the alphabet? 6 seconds, A through Z.
Yeah,
just feels
'cause it
when I
felt
think about
long.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just sitting there typing and then you go, oh yeah, I typed the whole alphabet in 6 seconds.
Yeah.
I also forgot something I wanted to do, so I'm going to show this to you now. I wanted to get you to give your first thoughts and impressions on a certain product. I know you don't do, product reviews, but I was very curious to hear your thoughts on this. This is the Dyson Zone headphones. And this is the visor that comes with them that goes over your mouth. You've seen the videos of this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They
What did you think when you first saw them?
So I evaluated it as a potential sponsorship because they reached out to me and I maybe passed. for
I
some
don't blame
reasons.
you.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
First impression, they're heavy and big as hell.
They're gigantic.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't like the mismatched metal because the face part is like some kind of copper gold thing and the headphone have a silver.
Yeah.
I'm going to try them on.
Please do.
Okay.
So the M50s that you just had on are 280 grams in weight.
Okay.
The super big heavy AirPods Maxes, 380 grams. Mm-hmm. The headphones you're wearing now, 580 grams.
Wow.
And they look every bit of those 580 grams of heavy headphones.
It almost feels like I would have to walk in sideways through doors because I'd like hit
sticking out
them.
so far. Yeah, they're quite a lot.
Okay.
So the goal is the filter. Oh yeah, is there noise cancellation on?
I don't know.
Probably not. Let's see.
The fact that I can't tell if it's noise cancellation or
means
not
it's probably off.
Yeah, because it doesn't have like the
Yeah, exactly.
sound.
So they're dead actually. So
Oh, really?
So
Cool.
yeah, they're not on. But what would happen if they were alive is you'd put the visor on, flip it upside down. Yeah, and it would spin up the fans in the ear cups and filter the air through and pass this like stream of air over your mouth, and it would be like this fresh air experience of purified air all the time.
So first note is I think I have
You
my
can pull
nose
it.
is too big for
You
it.
can expand
You
it.
can pull it,
kinda
but
like
still
headphones.
now it's like really far away from my
yeah.
mouth.
It's a look.
It's definitely a look.
Yeah.
Is it giving?
It's giving Tron. I don't know. It's
Oh my
something.
God. It's a combination
I wish it was on.
of a product that doesn't really solve a problem and also looks absolutely f***ing ridiculous.
Fair.
Yeah.
Very well said.
And I just cannot imagine who's going to wear this or want this for $1,000. It has about as much draw as a Twitter Blue subscription.
I would argue less.
Yeah.
I would argue less.
At least Twitter Blue would give you like an edit button.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Yeah. But the thing about Dyson, this is the video we're working on right now, is like Dyson has this weird history of turning a random assortment seemingly of products into like premium, like world-class gold star things. Mm-hmm. So they made a stick vacuum, which everyone loves. Like you can get a stick vacuum for $150. But then Dyson made one, and their motors and filtration are so good and it's so great, and it's like $800.
Yeah.
I love my Dyson vacuum.
Maybe I should get, because I don't love my stick vacuum.
No sponsor needed. I'll just say I love the Dyson vacuum.
Maybe I should buy a Dyson vacuum.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Have you used Dyson's? They have a air purifier fan, and they have a hair dryer that people love. They have all these things, all awesome.
Yeah.
And they're all based on their amazing motor and filtration technology. So this is technically also motor and filtration, motor being in here, filter being this literal air filter. And it just sucks air in through there and blows it through that. And that was their idea of what to do with this technology.
You know, I feel like they just like, the way that this product came about was them being like, we have this filtration technology. What else can we use them for? And somebody was like, underwear that filters out farts. And they're like, no, Kyle, that's ridiculous. We can, what else can we do? And like headphones. And they were just trying to figure out how to diversify the use case of it. I don't get it. I think the only way I could imagine Gen Z wearing it is if you could hook it up to your vape and just have it blow vape smoke
directly
in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might actually be a thing that they would sell more of, which is hilarious. Yeah, no, it exists out in the world. Maybe by the time this is up, the video's up, but I'm glad you got to try them because this.
Me too.
What a weird product.
It feels like a future contender for the failed museum next to the Juicero.
Oh, there's so many things I could put in that museum.
Yeah.
I've reviewed a lot of bad things in my day.
Yeah.
And this is right on top of the list so far anyway. Although it's weird. This joystick, super useful.
What does it do?
So you know how headphones usually have like either like a stem or like a touch surface and you can like fast forward and stuff, and they're like,
don't like it.
Not that great.
Yeah.
This one, volume up and down on the joystick, forward and back tracks, play pause, and then hold it to scrub through a song.
Oh, so if you're listening to podcasts,
you can listen to the middle of the podcast by fast forwarding to the middle.
You can go through the ad spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can go back to Simone after the break and just fast forward, and then she's back. And
so
that's
if
like,
you're listening to this podcast wearing a Dyson headphone
And only
filter
these.
thing, yeah.
these and like one other pair of headphones. So it's got that going for it.
I feel obligated to say this is not sponsored.
No.
This is the opposite of
sponsors.
sponsored. But
Oh, I was thinking of that could be another career path. Instead of an influencer, you're a dissuader. And people
love
pay
this.
you to use competitors' products in terrible ways.
oh, interesting. So
Yeah.
instead of use our product and talk about it, please use this competitor's product and cite all of these bad things
So
about it.
Pepsi's like, we're going to pay you to do something terrible with Coca-Cola.
Dissuaders.
Yeah.
Dissuader
dissuaders.
economy.
Dissuader.
I kind of like it. That's a new thing. I'm writing that down.
Can we bring in the calendar? Can I watch
Yes.
you unbox it?
Okay,
Granted,
I've got
that's
it out the
fucking
box,
terrifying.
But I do want to turn it on for the first time because I haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
Do I need anything like an app? Or can I just
No.
Okay.
It's 100%.
I'm gonna have
0% internet connected.
Adam's gonna grab it and we'll plug it in right here. And I'm gonna turn it on.
No Bluetooth. No. Oh, this is terrifying. I
Have
immediately
you
regret
ever
asking
had-
this.
So when I put out the shoes, I had to go through the process of not being able to know what anyone was going to say about the thing, and then I just had to see what they said.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen people review your products?
I've seen that there are videos of people reviewing products, but I've never dared to watch them.
I think you should. Because this is like it's a healthy amount
know.
of assuming the review comes from a good place.
Yeah.
There comes an amount of feedback that you probably couldn't get from your own team.
But the thing is, it's like, I'll ask other people to watch it. I just won't watch it myself because
okay.
it gives me too much anxiety.
Fair.
It's a little bit, it's like walking into a room and people are talking about you.
Well, you don't have to be in the room, like unless I literally unbox it right now in front of you. Then it's like being in a room. But yes, watching the videos is definitely an experience, I will say. So I took the plastic off, and these are the buttons, and it comes with this nice poster. But
Oh,
here
this
you
is
go.
the new one. Yeah.
Try to get the glare off. So that's the poster. So, or I'm holding this, and it's got a nice weight to it. So I would have to really trust the wall I'm hanging it on.
Yeah, drywall anchors is a good call.
Definitely.
Oh, you got the new braided cord too. This is the latest batch.
See, all these little details.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the old one that didn't have the braided cable. But I'm going to plug it in on the back here. Does it make any sounds? I'm about to find out. Oh, that was a nice animation.
That's it.
And now it seems like it's on. So, January 1st, lit. Now, if I skip days, it will skip them. Okay. So if we're in May 5th, like today, all I would do is go find May the 5th and light it up. And that's the first day I interviewed Simone. And I hopefully will do this again tomorrow. And I'd light it up. Oh, it lets me go into the future. Interesting.
It has-
Product suggestion.
Yeah.
Don't let me go into the future. I need
No?
to earn that button press. It doesn't even unlock till tomorrow
Yeah.
at midnight.
The thing is, we really decided to have it 0% internet connected. It's dumb. It doesn't know anything.
Okay.
It doesn't know today's date. It doesn't know the time.
It's not selling like
nothing.
microphone and data to
No.
Yetch.store.
Nothing, which
Okay.
is funny because
That's
it's
good.
like a part of it is like, okay, that's a product we can pull off, but it kind of became a selling point as well because it's
It
really
is.
novel with everything that has like an accompanying app.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no way.
So there's a computer in the back here somewhere, and it's just let me know when the lights are on. That's it.
Yeah, it runs on an Atmega 328P that you can reprogram. People have like made animations and everything and different,
Different brightness toggles. Mm-hmm. I like this. I like this. There is an element of when I check the to-do list thing in my app, the satisfying part of that is the little animation that plays, which is just like, phew, you did it.
Yeah.
You drank water. This has like a nice like glow that appears. And I wonder if you went crazy for some next level version where, like, see that mechanical keyboard right there where it has like a click, like a nice clicking set actuation. So when I check my habit, I mean, the visual part is the best part, but the day when I hit that thing at the end of the day, that's also really satisfying.
I think, so hit the last day.
Oh, that's
So
sweet.
when you do
Oh,
a
I need to
full
play that.
month, that's the only one
All right.
that we have.
Simone pointed out, I'm going to do this on video. 30 out of 31 days, There you go. 31. Blinks the whole month. Nice little reward. Okay, I like that. I appreciate that a lot.
But it is, we've run into, so we've had some technical limitations where all the LEDs need to be at the same brightness because I wanted it to do like kind of like a ripple, like pond effect, like a drop in a pond where you hit a day and it kind of like dims up the other day, other days around it. But we can't do that because they all have to be on the same brightness. But we are working on a new version where we might have brightness and also RGB. So you could have it for like long press, it turns into another color.
So if I drank 3 times as much water that day, I would long press it.
Yeah, and you get it to be
I would do
extra super tap.
I would love that.
Yeah.
That's fire. All right. Simone's going to join us for some trivia. We have some trivia. Ellis and Adam have prepared trivia for this episode?
Oh, yeah.
Question mark?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Trivia time.
Oh, wow. There's lights and everything.
Yep.
So,
what they
Simone,
prepared.
earlier you mentioned you are the owner of a Volvo. In 1993, another Swedish car company, Saab, we all know and love, as part of the European Prometheus project, released a prototype of their classic Model 9000. This car was noteworthy because it lacked a steering wheel.
What?
What?
In 1993, no steering wheel. What method was used to control this car?
All right. So we have the time to write down on our whiteboards. Can I ask you to say that again? Or like the
Sure.
part
Here's
about...
the important bits.
Yes.
In 1993, Saab released a prototype car, no steering wheel.
Yeah.
How did you steer it?
All right. I've written my answer.
Yeah.
You've got your answer?
Let's flip them around and read.
I said by looking at the place you want to go.
That is a great answer, though.
Darn. What did you rate?
I said joystick.
I also would have accepted yoke. I could not find a definitive source online for the difference between a joystick and a yoke.
Great. I'm glad that you didn't.
Interesting. I feel like a yoke is like a... Yeah, I can't explain it.
But the yoke of an airplane is also one-handable. Well, no, I guess it's not, because the yoke on an airplane has a steering wheel built in.
Right, it's
So I
like
guess-
half a wheel.
Yeah, so I guess joystick is the only answer to this question. This is a straight-up joystick with a little... See, but it has a rotator knob on top.
Oh my God, that sounds
Technically
terrible
a
to
wheel.
drive.
That does sound terrible, actually.
Also, one more fun fact. After
Yeah.
you guys were having... I had never seen Marquez ever admit that GIF is pronounced GIF. I'm
honored.
diehard GIF. But in researching it, we did find that in the original documentation of like the GIF paper, the GIF paper, they mention specifically the peanut butter company,
Which is JIF.
which is GIF. And they said it's pronounced like the peanut butter. And we found there was a marketing campaign when they first put out this format based on this classic peanut butter ad.
Jif peanuts are ground even finer to get out all the flavorful goodness. Smell yours. So, now Jif. Smells more like fresh peanuts.
Jif.
Tastes Jif.
It's Jif.
Tastes better, really better.
Choosy mothers choose new Jif.
And so their marketing campaign was choosy developers choose Jif.
Jif.
It just seems like a weird creative decision by the creator of GIFs.
You know, like I said, I'm always and forever GIF.
Sounds like it's up to the creator. I mean, if you made the format, you get to name it.
I mean, granted, my ancestors decided that my last name, spelled Giertz, was going to be pronounced Yatch.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm kind of in that same boat
I
where
had
somebody
to Google
just
that so many times.
It was one of the
no
tougher.
sense.
I'm trying to like phonetically place Giertz into Yetch in my head,
It doesn't make
and
sense.
it's a stretch.
Yeah.
It's tough. Simone, thank you for sending this our way. I love it. I appreciate it, and thanks for being on Waveform.
Yeah, thank you
We
so much
appreciate
for
you.
having me. That was oddly terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
the calendar review, not the rest of the podcast.
it was the best part. Yeah. I'm gonna keep doing this over and over again. 31. Yes. So that's been it. Thank you again to Simone for jumping in to the podcast studio, and it was a fun conversation. I think that was, there's a lot of interesting points in there, and obviously talking about YouTube. You guys should go watch her videos if you haven't already seen them. If you got through this whole thing and haven't watched any of Simone's videos, go watch them.
How dare you?
We'll link them below as well. Also, you guys just got to watch the trivia, but now that Andrew and David are back, I think we should have them attempt the same trivia question. So let's do that.
I'm riding high after last week.
I don't remember.
Are those new colors?
Oh, yeah, you did well last week.
I did.
Yeah.
There are new colors.
They are new colors. Thank you for noticing.
I know that component and composite are different things, and I understand how they work, unlike everybody else, because I actually heard the long version of the
Well, I got the
explanation.
question more right, so.
Yeah, but who's really winning here? Information or trivia points? You
Okay.
know?
I'm losing in both of those, the overall.
Simone mentioned
Oh, no.
being a Swedish car owner,
Okay.
specifically a Volvo owner.
Wait, like a... Oh, okay.
Yeah. In 1993, another Swedish car company, Saab, released a version of their classic Model 9000.
Sob?
Saab. This version of the 9000 was noteworthy because it lacked a steering wheel.
Wow.
What was used to control the car instead?
Holy moly.
I was feeling so confident. I felt like I was like,
Steering wheel.
I know Volvo's Swedish. I know Saab is Swedish. We're going somewhere.
Quickly.
We lost.
Quickly.
Now you're exactly where I was.
I'm going to probably answer exactly the same as Marquez answered and get it wrong.
If I remember correctly, because this is a few days later, Marquez had a really silly answer to this question.
Well, anything but a steering wheel is fairly silly, so...
That's a great point.
Ready?
What you got? Two
Oh,
correct answers.
Let's
Read it, boys.
go. Joystick. If you go back to the camera, I erase at the end of the thing and like scribbled it in. I wrote handles first. and then-
Handles?
Yeah.
I was
also
thinking
learned.
I'm thinking of my zero turn.
Oh, wow.
Zero turn.
What did you say, Marquez?
Doesn't matter.
Did you say yoke?
Doesn't matter. This went off the rails so fast. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Waveform podcast this week. We'll catch you very soon in the next one.
Waveform was produced by Adam Molina and Ellis Robin. We're partnered with Vox Media Podcast Network, and our intro outro music was created by Vane Still.
Peace.